Mangroves are important. They provide protection from the ocean and waves. They help stabilize our coasts. We have 4 native mangrove species, and they are protected. The exotic mangroves, we're worried, will invade our native mangrove forests. They will outcompete our native mangroves, and it will reduce the diversity and the health of our mangrove forests. The species that was planted here at Kampong isn't as sort of out of the gate invasive as Lemnitsera down the coast in Fairchild, but the concerning thing is this species has the widest natural range of any mangrove species on the planet. And so to us it says this is a very good colonizer, and that maybe it's a sort of slow invasion. Slowly they reach critical mass, and then maybe 100 years down the road, boom, they're everywhere.
So the real difficulty in the removal of the Bruguiera and the Lemnitsera species is there's going to be a lot of hand pulling involved. Sometimes these things get so dense, we call them dog hair stands because they grow almost like the hair on the back of a dog. Be thousands and thousands of seedlings, you know, within a given area. So you have to bend down, kind of identify these species, and they look real similar to our white mangroves. So you got to be sure that you're pulling the right species, and then each one individually has to be hand pulled and then put into a pile so they don't re-germinate. Lemnitsera population over at Fairchild and then at Matheson Hammock, where the big population of Lemnitsera is, we have to pull all the seedlings. And when we first started pulling in 2018, we had upwards of tens of thousands of seedlings that we were pulling. And every year as we go back to the area, we keep finding additional seedlings. The numbers keep going down, and by 2015, I mean, the numbers have been quite small, but it's just amazing, just the seed bank from the Lemnitsera in this one area. So all the mature trees have been pulled out, all the seed bearing plants have been pulled out, and yet the seed bank continues to persist. So our goal is we just continue to pull the seedlings, trying to deplete the seed bank, and eventually we'll get to the last one and we'll be able to eradicate Lemnitsera from South Florida.
The old gardens lived within their walls and lived in happy isolation. Those days have gone, and we work very closely with environmental groups, state and federal organizations, local NGOs, and for an issue like invasive species, you need a broad range of collaborators that you can work with. No one institution has all the skills and all the contacts, so we're very happy to be part of a large consortium dealing with this big issue. So what Botanic Gardens do now is we assess our collections, we walk the collections, we're in a state of constant sort of surveillance to see where the problems are. And the staff at the garden here at the Kampong had identified the Bruguiera as an invasive risk. And working together with our colleagues from Fish and Wildlife, from our colleagues at Florida International University, we knew we had a developing problem. And with an invasive species, you need to act quickly before the numbers get too high and you're dealing with a much bigger and more complicated problem. So we got the board to agree that despite the fact it was a historical David Fairchild introduction, it was an ecological liability, and we decided to go ahead and remove it.